I'm the scat man. I'm the scat man.
Game Day Wednesday. The hardest working man in sports is to my right now. Welcome to NHL Puck Props presented by Sports Interaction. 14-year NHL vet Carlo Colaiacovo. Biggest game of the year for the Leafs, and your boys are talking about ribs. Let's talk about your rib prep before we get going here. I love ribs. I think they're probably the easiest thing to do, and I might talk myself into making ribs for the game today. Give me your recipe here.
Well, I'm not a big sauce guy on ribs. I hate when they're covered in sauce because it feels like that's all you're eating. You might as well just order a bottle of barbecue sauce and just drink it. So I'm more of like a dry ribs guy. So I buy 2 racks. I take the skin scale off of the back. I peel it off so there's nothing that keeps it together. Then I cut each rib individually. I grab a big bowl, put all the single ribs in there, grab olive oil, soak it in olive oil so it's nice and moist. Then I grab some salt, some pepper, some herbamare, sometimes maybe some paprika, and I just let it cook. I let it cook on the barbecue, slow heat, so that
like on the grill, like physically on the grill.
So I do it 2 ways. I still do it 2 ways. If I want to eat it quick, I do it on the grill. If I want to slow cook them, I put them in the oven for 425. I do
425.
Oh yeah, I do 30 minutes one way, and then I turn each individual one over, and I do 20 minutes the other way, and they come out fabulous.
If you got 3 hours, it's so easy just to have nice ribs.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. I love love a good. I got my dad's a beekeeper. Well,
what?
Yeah, he's
how am I finding out about this now? I've been working with you for 3 years.
So yeah, I love putting honey. So like I'll just do like 275. Dress them up however you want them. Do it in between. Like I don't cut them up. I might work on that cut up move. I think that's a good idea.
Well, the cut up move.
Me trying to move ribs from the oven to the grill and they fall. And
that's tough. That's tough. I don't like when the meat falls off the bone. It's not my type of ribs.
You're right. You need a little
pulling it off.
Yeah.
Right. And when you cut them up individually, especially with the olive oil sort of softens it all up, right? It helps cook all the way through. Versus if you put it on like a rack, sometimes when you cut it open afterwards, it's still a little bit like dry in there.
We're doing ribs tonight, family. The Ingles house is doing ribs. Got no baseball.
Ribs and hockey, baby. Let's go.
My dentist cleaning got canceled. She's like, hey, can you do right now? I'm like, no.
No.
All right. But no. Yeah. All right. So we've set that up. We got food for tonight's game. This is the biggest game. Like, yeah, I was like 20 or something, like watching Leafs Sens in college. I mean, you weren't really as invested at that time. Now I have time to be invested. This is probably the biggest game that I'll watch in the Leafs game. And I'm optimistic, right? Like you lost 2 games. Yeah, the 2-goal blue, two goal leads. I get it. But there's an easy way to wrap your head if you're chief to talk to the boys here. And I love your angle. Like you can be a god in the city. You have that opportunity, and you don't usually get that opportunity. And let's add in, you can do it by knocking off the champs.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And here we are, 2-2. You got home ice, best of 3, win 2 games. You're on your second goalie, but your second goalie almost won you a game you didn't deserve to win.
Yeah.
How you feeling going into game 5 here, bud?
Yeah, I think I feel optimistic, right? I mean, I think if you evaluate this Leafs playoffs in the first series and you evaluate it as a whole, they've played really good hockey. They've showed they can play with Florida. Okay. They should have won game 3. They didn't. They had a chance to win game 4. They didn't. With an extra day off, I think their performance in game 4 had a lot to do with the way game 3 ended, where the way they started that game, it almost looked like they weren't over the result of game 3 just yet. And you could tell. I mean, they were sloppy, penalty-filled period, which is you can't do against a Florida team. You can't do just in general. You can't be that undisciplined. And I think it caught up to him. And as bad as things seemed and looked, they were only down 1 goal late in the third period. Yeah. So now I think that extra days off between series, it hasn't allowed Florida to build too much momentum. It's actually allowed the Leafs to reset. And I think Joseph Woll's performance is going to obviously determine whether they win or not. But I think as a whole, the Leafs should get fired up for this game, knowing that this is the position that they envision themselves being in when they got home ice. Hey, a chance to go up 3-2 in a series against a really good team. We've got to find a way to come out and do it. And I like Berube's approach too, where it almost seems like his approach is running off on the rest of the team, right? Where it's calm, it's cool, it's collected, it's not much panic. I mean, as of yesterday, we didn't see them tinkering with the line, so you don't expect any lineup changes. So, look, it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a tough game. I wouldn't be surprised if you see overtime in this game, but I think I side a little bit with the Maple Leafs on this one, being more optimistic about that.
Nick Perez brings up a good point to say, couldn't you say that the Panthers should have won maybe games 1 and 2 as well? Like there were some uncharacteristic things from Florida. So looking at the series as a whole, you're in a good spot. Looking at the series as half of it over the last 2 games on the road, or not even so, like maybe just the last few periods on us. The first period was great. But outside of that, don't look at it as a smaller sample. Look at it as a whole. You're in a good spot. You got home. You got the extra rest. And I'm not here to debate which team is going to play better with the extra rest. I honestly think Matthews would just enjoy maybe another day off. Let's be honest. Some of his best shooting performances have been with the extra rest. Let's get to the plays here. No, before I get that, I want to ask you one thing. Obviously, Granlund, big game last night. We touch on it. Plus 750, got him for 2 points. Hat trick there. What is the biggest difference? And this applies to this series too, because this is starting to look like the Winnipeg-St. Louis series where every home team is winning. What is the biggest difference between home and away during the playoffs? I'm going to start again so I can clip it. What is the biggest difference between home and away in the playoffs than the regular season? But you're seeing guys like Hellebuck just be different people. You're seeing teams struggle or be fantastic at home or on the road. What is the biggest difference there, or is there one?
It's a $1 million question, right? You're trying to figure out why Hellebuck is the way he is. The only thing I can think of is during a season, there's an easier way to manage your emotions where you don't have to get too high, don't get too low. Come playoff time, when the adrenaline is running through the roof because every game means something, sometimes guys might struggle with handling those different range of emotions. You're going into it, again, during the regular season, you're going into a road rink. Maybe it's not as loud. Maybe there's not that many fans in the crowd. Maybe there's not white towels. Right. I don't know. It's such a weird thing as an athlete. Like those are the things that I played for. Like those are the things that I dreamed of, is playing in those environments where everything in the game meant so much. That just drives my competitive juices. Right. I mean, and it's I wish I had an answer. I don't know how to explain Winnipeg's struggles both with Hellebuck and their road record. Doesn't make any sense. Road can sometimes be the easier place to play because you're just simplifying your game, right? I don't know. It's
You don't have to match up. Yeah, you just throw them out there, and then they have to make the choices.
play.
Yeah, I know it's an interesting thing. So I just wanted to touch on that. Appreciate it. Let's get to the plays here. Marner under 1.5 shots. Thank you for touching on that. The last time I bet on it, he hit this over in the first period, and then he's had one shot in the last 3 games. Let's go, Benoit.
That one shot, by the way.
Yeah, and it was like it's my handicap for it like 4 games ago was this. I think it was game 1. This is not a series where Mitch Marner gets close to the net. He's not anywhere near any good shooting spots, and this one shot was just inside the blue line. Yeah, so we won't see it, but maybe he'll come out firing. Hopefully not. Let's go let's go nice point. Marner assist plus 155. Last change, top line like it. PP correlated. Double block shot combo. Benoit, 280. So this is where I was. I love Benoit because he was plus money. Now he's been playing like 14 minutes to like 19 minutes. It's been a juggle, but last game series low, 14 minutes. A lot of that had to do with the 5 constant, the penalties out of the gate. He is PK2, but PK1 was starting a lot of that time. So I'll take both of them because I really think Tanev, if Tanev sees his big minutes, he's going to get there. So he's a great throw-in. And then Matthews. What's he going to do with Matthews? Shots. That's it. Just shots. The extra rest shots. He's been consistent, right? At home, he hasn't had fewer than 3. It's been homes where he's actually hit some of these overs. But his floor's safe. His floor is 3 shots. And I'm just paying 15 points there. Big game for him. Where do you see the advantage Toronto has at home with the rest in game 5?
I think the advantage that they have is obviously matchups and last change, because you could put those guys, Marner and Matthews, into more offensive situations so that they can find a way to get going instead of always starting them in the D zone, because that's the matchup you're looking for against their top players, and then having to work out of the D zone into the offensive zone. Other than that, like I think both teams have a mutual respect for each other, and I think both coaches do too. And they recognize that maybe they don't have to pay too much attention to the matchups and just trust that their players will get the job done that they're being asked to do. But when you're talking about getting guys like Matthews and Marner going, at home would probably be more advantageous for them because they can start in the offensive zone more when the puck's there.
Appreciate that. Looking in the chat, someone saying, hey, Josh, do you like that third line in Florida to stack? Because as you said earlier in the series, the longer this series goes, the fewer penalties and the more 5-on-5 ice time that line will have. Yeah, that's the line to target. And someone saying which of the two, if you put the two together, you got to go Lundell and Marchand because of the PP2 correlation, because Luostarinen does not play on that second unit. But I don't mind that third line. I like it a lot. And one more thing I'm going to ask you that's really important, and you guys had Jans on today on the show talking about it.
What a beauty.
He's just sitting there with his hate for Biz, and he's just leaning into it. It's really funny how like the 3 of them all have a horse in the race right now. A team
still left in the race, yeah.
Yeah. Good morning to Adam there in the chat. Appreciate you, pal. There was a lot coming out of that game. Game 4, after the whistle stuff. I'm on the fact that Barkov probably shouldn't even be on the ice in that spot, up 2 goals. And Barkov should probably know with 5 seconds left, you need to have some responsibility on your own self, not to put your head down 3 feet from the boards. I'm not condoning the hit, but don't put yourself in that position, because if the roles were reversed, someone would probably be hitting 34 if he was doing the same thing there.
Yeah, look, I think you bring up a great point. A lot of it is just having a good sense of awareness of the situation of the game. You're up 2 goals. They just took all their top players off. And in playoffs, that's sort of the time in those last shifts where players kind of want to set a tone for the next game, right? Yeah. And if you're Barkov and you're lining up against Domi, you got to think, okay, well, this guy's probably going to try to take a shot at somebody. Yeah, look, I'm glad it didn't end up any worse than it was. And I think Domi's lucky that Barkov got right up when he made that play, because I'm not condoning that play either. But yeah, I think there has to be more of an onus on the player receiving it, that, hey, be aware of the time and the situation of the game and what that could potentially call for.
Don't put yourself in dumb positions, right? Like, don't skate with your head down in dumb spots. Like, sure, someone might get a 5, but you could be a lot worse than a 5.
Yeah, for sure.
No. And
again, I don't think there's going to be any carryover into today's game. Like,
that's my question. And that's exactly my question. The throat slashing and I'll get you and everything that was building up in between it. And you got the extra day off, so the media had more to talk about. This game means so much. Now the best of 3. Do you see things carrying over, or you're only going to see that dirty, greasy stuff possibly in the last 10 seconds with the team winning?
Well, yeah, you're only going to see it in the last seconds of the game, but you also might see it in scrums, right? Where if there's a scrum in front of the net or a scrum at a dot, maybe guys will go looking for each other and trying to throw an extra punch here and there. But Florida Panthers know how to win at this time of year. That's going to be their primary focus. The Leafs are trying to learn how to win at this time of year. That's going to be their primary focus. If you start getting into the retribution game and getting back at one another, and you have a period like the Leafs had in the first and last game where all your top players are on the bench because you're getting your penalty kills out there and you're basically eliminating any type of momentum, and you allow Florida to get the opening goal. I think the opening goal in tonight's game is going to be huge. And I think more so for the Leafs. If the Leafs score the goal, then you get the crowd into it, right? You get the crowd into it. You keep the building alive. You can play with more confidence. You don't get the first goal for the Leafs. Now the crowd starts getting nervous. And for some reason, anytime there's a nervous energy in the crowd in Toronto, it almost always trickles down into the players.
Yeah. Carlo Colaiacovo in his prime, playoff scrum. What's the most annoying thing someone can do to you in a scrum?
Face wash.
Straight face wash? Like, you ever catch a fish hook in there?
Yeah, I mean, you can take a punch here and there, but if a guy grabs your face and just starts rubbing it with the palm of his glove that's all sweaty and gross, and like
Carlo smash?
Yeah, like you're most guys have playoff beards, right? I mean, it's just, you don't want that feeling of somebody sticking their glove in your face. You got to know after the whistle that, and you see it a lot too. Guys have their guard up, right? They're protecting against it. If a guy grabs your face and just starts going like this, you can grind your teeth and want to spear his eyes out.
Spear his eyes out. Don't face wash Carlo. There you go. Boys are saying, what about the Pacioretty point? I think the wagons ship. I think that ship has sailed. We got our 2 points. I don't know. He's not playing huge minutes. We'll see, but he is playing a lot 4 or 5-on-5, and I think this game will dictate that. Let's get to the other game, Edmonton-Vegas. Edmonton can wrap things up. I think we need to owe Carolina an apology, and we might need to owe Edmonton an apology.
For sure.
Yeah. Let's get to the plays. Edmonton plus 105. Vegas minus 125. Over under sitting at 6.5, leaning to the over. Edmonton team total over 3.5 plus 110. Bouchard assist minus 115. They scored 9 goals in Vegas and at least 3 in every game in the series. Still the best expected goals for at all strength. Skinner is not holding the fort for a second game. That offense is going to have to catch up. Is that the biggest surprise? What we saw in game 4? Skinner shutout and Henrique 2 goals?
Well, that's definitely a surprise. I mean, I think the Edmonton Oilers as a whole have been a complete surprise to a lot of people because they knew they were good, but nothing throughout the season made people believe that they could use this type of effort and win in the playoffs. I think it was, I read yesterday, 13 of the last 14 goals by the Edmonton Oilers were scored by players not named McDavid or Draisaitl. In years past, it's always been those 2 guys leading the charge for Edmonton. Now they're doing it with other guys leading, like Henrique, Kane, Connor Brown. Like, these are all the guys. Darnell Nurse is scoring goals. When does that happen? So they've been playing a game that right now just looks unstoppable.
They're making goalies look bad. Making
Yeah.
Kemper look bad. Made Aiden Hill look bad.
And you just got to think there's got to be a McDavid and Draisaitl put me on your back type of game coming because they haven't relied on it up until now.
They did split up the lines. They split the pair up. They're playing on different lines, which was weird. Usually they do that on the road. They did it at home in game 4. They pushed Perry down to the 4th line. And we'll see. So I don't have a lot of props in this game other than that Bouchard point because I don't know what the lines are going to be. We saw Vegas mix them up. You're absolutely mixing the lines up after
assist. That's a pretty popular thing or something that stands out for sure because
115, yeah.
He's a guy that, I mean, we criticize his defense early on in the playoffs, but if there's something that he continues to find, that's helping produce offense for this team.
Plus, you can get the greasy other, maybe 3-0. They pull the goalie down 3-0. You can get the 4th goal, which you usually don't because it's an elimination game. That top line was Hyman, Nugent Hopkins, and McDavid. And I think Hopkins was the one on PP1, and someone in the chat saying he sold. Pavel Dorofeyev shot ladder from Adam's Digest. Probably a good look. If he's saying it, it's something I don't even have to look at it. I know Adams does his homework, and that's where it is. But I don't have a feel for this series at all. It's probably the late one, and it's probably the one I've watched the least, which I don't have a good enough look at. But there's going to be some mix-ups on the Vegas end, and I don't know where it is because they haven't been getting a lot of stuff from guys that they need to. Stone might not be 100% healthy. The goaltending has been terrible, frankly to say. Yeah. And anytime Stuart Skinner's in that net, I really looked at both teams to score 3 goals. But elimination game, it's tough to get. So I just went to the one side. Huge game, Toronto. It's going to be clenched butt cheeks all night. And even if I hope it's clenched butt cheeks because we saw when it's not clenched butt cheeks, Uncle Carlo, that it can become clenched butt cheeks pretty quickly, like Friday night when we thought we were walking.
And Friday night felt like one of those games. Is like, okay, wow, they're really going to do this, and I don't have to sweat this one out. 2-0, then 3-1, and it's like they tied it 3-3, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
I was ready to burn the city down Friday because we were winning everything. I'm like, that's it. Man. Let's go. No.
Crazy.
All right. Crazy. Appreciate that. Appreciate the insight. Hopefully we can get some Matthews going. Someone is in the chat was saying, why is Matthews? Why do you guys keep talking about Matthews? Is this just a Toronto thing? No, he's the number 1 goal scorer in the league last year. Highest paid player in the league. If this was any other market. Ooh, do we have any goals? I haven't even looked at my Slovenia stacks.
I think France just had a goal called back.
Oh no.
And you went Slovenia stacks?
I got a France stack too. Bozon, Belmer, and the other Bozon guy. But
I think they just called the goal back.
Oh, Bozon.
Yeah, it's a coach's challenge. It's offside. It's not going to count.
Oh, dang. All right. That's where we are. We're done.
Okay, buddy.
Let's go get some ribs. Deal.
Yes, I love it. I'll come over.
NHL
later.
Puck Prop.
Come over to your ribs.
Come over to my ribs. Oh, yeah. Come over. Hang out with the family, bud. I'm sure you don't have 8,000 things to do.
Yeah.
No kidding. I hear you.
All right. Come over on FaceTime. All right.
Cheers. Sports Interaction has you covered on all these picks. Download the Sports Interaction app. NHL Puck Props presented by Sports Interaction. Josh Ingles, Carlo Colaiacovo. Lead us out, pal.
Ciao.